Hey, welcome everyone to ModGolf Live. I'm Colin Weston, your host, and I'm excited. This is the first time we've done this. Still figuring it out as we go, but as an entrepreneur, rather than waiting and waiting and waiting for it to be perfect, we're just doing it. We're just making it happen here, making our show with our first guest that I will be bringing on in a few minutes, and that is Lydia Davies, who is the founder of Osprey, Redefining Icons, and she's doing some amazing things supporting women entrepreneurs in the entertainment, the music, the sports space, and beyond. And can't wait for that conversation. I consider Lydia a very good friend. She's even making quite the effort. She's in Houston, and they had some massive tornadoes down there a couple of days ago. But she's made it happen. She's cobbled it together to get her Wi-Fi up and running here. So I really appreciate that Lydia is going to be joining us today. But as we get started here, the first thing I want to do is welcome everyone. If you're joining us, if it's going to be 2 people or 200 people today, we want to make this live and interactive today. And yeah, if you have any questions for myself, you have any questions for Lydia as we go here, please just ask them. We will make sure that we make this live and interactive. And if you want to follow up afterwards too, this will be posted on our ModGolf YouTube channel, so you have the chance to check it out and review it again afterwards when we do that. So again, we're going to start off here with, our why of what we really do here with ModGolf and ModGolf Live and the progression that we've had. So we founded the ModGolf Podcast 7 years ago. Hard to believe, almost 200 episodes in, and really our North Star, our reason for being is to celebrate and support innovators and entrepreneurs in the golf space, in the industry, and to make golf more fun, make it more welcoming, making it just more innovative. And that's what we do and why we do it. So also wanted to mention here, as you can see on the screen, I'll have that link also in the chat here, that we launched our Patreon community. And you may be asking, what the heck is the Patreon community that we have here? So what we're doing here is with ModGolf, as we expand to create more content like this with the live shows, which we're hoping to do every single week, Monday at 10 p.m. noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific, where I'm in Vancouver here in Canada. And this just allows us to actually create a more engaged community here. And on the fun side too, we're going to be doing more ModGolf giveaways. I'm very well connected now within the golf industry and got great partners that love sending me golf stuff, golf gear. And we're going to be giving that stuff away on our ModGolf Lives here. So as we get started here, one thing I want to mention in some news here, and I'm going to add this, here we go. And that is our latest episodes that we've had here. So the last episode we released is with Carolyn Penninger, and she is one of the leaders involved with what's called the Golf Pitch Challenge. And the Golf Pitch Challenge is I guess you can call it the Shark Tank for the golf industry. And they're having their first event starting tomorrow. So I realize if you're a golf innovator and entrepreneur and founder, a little bit too late to join them in Orlando for their 2-day mastermind session. But I understand they are going to be doing a couple more this year, one in Las Vegas, I think one almost in Lydia's backyard there in South Texas, I believe also. So yeah, there's all kinds of opportunities there to get involved. Other previous episode too, talking about founders, I had the opportunity to talk to the co-founder of 5-Iron Golf. So indoor golf facilities, there's quite a few of them popping up with simulators, drinks, music, but 5-Iron, I love what they're doing. They add this extra layer of art and culture, and the inside of every single one of the 25 or 26 of them they have across the US now with 5-Iron Golf. It's like an art gallery with what they have there, with the graffiti art that they've actually installed with local artists there. And they're doing some amazing things too. So yeah, that is a bit of an update on some of the latest episodes that we've ran here in the last little while. And I guess the other thing, I don't talk about this too often because I don't talk about what's happened lately in golf, but I'm very curious to hear what people are thinking about the PGA Championships with Xander Schauffele winning for the first time. I really like him. I think he's a great dude, and I'm really happy for him that he won. But that other big story, craziness that happened on Friday morning, very early when it's dark, with Scotty Scheffler, of him being arrested. And I've been following this story and everything that's happened, and what Scotty and some reporters say that happened, and then of course what the police officer said happened. Like, there's some crazy stuff going on there, and I guess we'll find out more, because I believe his arraignment is tomorrow on Tuesday. So yeah, share your thoughts on that one too, because that's a bit of a crazy one on that. So okay, so that's our first opening, with me just talking about what's going on with the ModGolf Podcast and in golf in general. So now it's time for me to bring on and introduce our guest this week. As I mentioned, Lydia Davies, my good friend. There she is. Lydia, how you doing today?
I'm good. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little sweaty. My hair is a little frizzy, but we've been without power here in Houston in my neighborhood for 5 days now. So this is day 5. So, it's warm. I got a bit of a sheen on me, but we're keeping it real. It's so funny because I had to get, I wanted to get this Wi-Fi up. So we're like multiple extension cords down the neighborhood to the one person that has like the built-in generator in their house. So, we're making it happen for you, Colin.
Crazy. And I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. So, if you're wondering here, if I'm looking away a little bit here, because just like you as an entrepreneur, I'm doing it all here. I'm the executive producer. I'm pushing buttons using a new platform called StreamYard, new for me, called StreamYard, which I absolutely love. Super easy to use. So if anyone else out there is thinking about creating some content and doing some live broadcasts, they don't pay me. I'm paying them, but I'm loving StreamYard so far. So big props to them, because it's making my life easy here. That I can actually multitask for a change, which for me is almost next to impossible. So Lydia, for our audience here, for people that are watching today, why don't you give us an overview of what's going on? You're the founder of Osprey, Redefining Icons. Why don't you let everyone know what's going on with you and Osprey?
Sure. Well, Osprey is a community for women in sports and entertainment. It's been really great so far. We launched it in August last year, and it started with just a talent circle. The community is a Venn diagram, so it's 3 circles, one community. So we started with our talent circle, which was female athletes and entertainers, and their memberships were all sponsored by brand partners and people that just really supported women in sports. So they came on and they got, they network with each other, they join events. They have a curriculum they follow on these small pods that we do. We have fun speaker sessions. And then we added our second circle, the executive circle, last month. So now we have over 30 members in that circle, and they range from agents like NFL, NBA agents to VPs at leagues. We've got some NHL, some NWSL, to record label executives. So it's been awesome. We just are getting ready to launch our college circle in August, and we're starting with 5 beta colleges for female athletes in college. So it's been really exciting. The whole community, there you go, perfect timing, is based on collaboration. So they cross brands, they network, they find ways to lift each other up. They pass on brand deals. If they're not suited for themselves, they pass them on to someone in the community. And then we do these really fun, wild events that we're about to do our 3rd large event this year already in Indianapolis on Saturday. So it's been a ride so far.
Amazing. I love what you're doing here. And I do hope that because your schedule is so hectic, whether you're in the middle of dealing with a tornado or not, even without that, even when you're tornado-less, you've got so much going on. I'm really hoping that you will join us as a guest host for a upcoming ModGolf podcast episode with one of your fabulous icons, whoever that is, whether they're in the golf industry or whoever that is, to share their story. So hopefully you can squeeze us in a couple months' time and join us on the ModGolf Podcast.
Of course. And actually, our last big event was a golf event. because, that's how you and I met, Colin, via golf. So our second event this year was called Birdies and Bubbles. And it was in between, it was right after the Houston Open, before the LPGA Chevron, right in that week in between those two. And we actually had 130 women come out in the community. And we had a 9-hole scramble. We had driving range lessons. We had live music. And we had a bunch of our members fly out and come in from locally as well and be a part of it. So that was so much fun because, it was just finding another way to make golf more accessible. We had some of our members on panels and just helping teach and bringing those women together. Some of them had never played before, and they get there and they're like, wow, I have been wanting to do this for ages, but I just didn't know how. And now, I'm with 100 plus other women learning. And that was, once again, golf proved that it's such a great way of bringing the community together.
Wow. Yeah, I absolutely love this. And just your evolution as an entrepreneur and seeing these new opportunities present themselves. What you're doing with Osprey, my understanding, is really kind of the next kind of extension of everything that you've learned and built with your first ventures, which is how we met in the first place. And that was with what you called Teammates. First of all, expanded for all sports into Teammates. And it sounds like what you actually did with your event the last week or so is based or infused, I guess you can say, with all the good things you're doing with Teammates. So I know, like a lot of entrepreneurs and myself, you have to kind of juggle your time. You've got more than one thing going off, but you've done a really nice job of getting Teammates in place that others can run that more, so you can focus almost 100% of your time on Osprey now. So you built that up to a level, and then you've managed to white label and hand that off, my understanding. So why don't we take a step back and tell everyone about the origin story of Teammates and then Teammates.
Yeah. So was that 2020 COVID? Yes. COVID was 2020. So at the very beginning of COVID, like you, Colin, my entrepreneurial mind is like, needs to be busy at all times. It's kind of a little bit, you say like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a little bit crazy. It's very true. Yep. I can't be more true. So during COVID, I was doing real estate and running a couple other things. And my mind just started going like, everyone's at home. The only thing we can do is go and play golf. So, let's create an app where we can meet each other, like meet our neighbors and know who plays golf. Because I didn't actually know who played golf in the, mile radius around me. And I'm sure, and I know now that there is tons of women that did. So we created Teammates, which was like a golf meetup app. Like you join the round, you post on social, which then kind of evolved into more sports. We started adding pickleball and running and all that stuff. So that kind of like went into, it was very interesting. I wouldn't call it's not a failure story, but I would call it like you said, like an evolution story. Because what I realized that without the critical mass in each city and community that you need to make that work solidly all the time, it's extreme. So that one, I decided that I just wanted to bring communities together. So if I white labeled it, other companies that had communities would be able to use it for their community and have the events and the meetups and the social media. And then I actually took the app and made it into an Osprey members only app as well. So we have an app for Osprey that is Teammates redone with social media and events, and they can win prizes for posting and they can share brand deals. So it's great that platform was already done. We're actually just onboarding all the members onto it now. So that's been really exciting. And honestly, just, having that passion for women in sports has always been my thing, and in entertainment, because I was in entertainment myself for many, many years. I kind of noticed, and a couple people nudged me. They're like, oh, you're always doing women's clinics and bringing women together. And I just realized that was like very much where my real passion lied, and changing things for the women in those sectors. The female athletes they just still don't get paid nearly enough, which we know because we're all reading it on the news. don't get treated fairly. There's not enough emphasis towards helping them generate more wealth through investment or building businesses. And also, a lot of them feel alone and need a safe space to connect and talk and network. And we already have a couple members that are co-founding a business together, that we put them together and they're creating this business and we're helping them build it. So it's been really exciting. Honestly, I love it.
Love this too. I really do. Okay, we've got a couple of questions here. One I have, these are anonymous. I don't quite know who's asking this one, but the question is, what was your aha moment for starting Osprey, and what gave you the courage and the confidence to take that leap with your second venture?
Honestly, it was my friend who was my original founding partner in the company that said, I feel like you should be doing this. People had watched me on panels just talking about like women in sports and creating equality for them and finding a space to be a community. And it was that kind of nudge actually from him that was like, this is what I think you should be doing. And when I really thought about it, I was like, oh, that's correct. Thank you for helping me see that light. So that was really helpful and I appreciated that. And honestly, confidence wise, I think I've built so much from a young age. Like, I opened my own record label when I was 18. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was still something I built. And from then on, I've always built things. And it just I honestly don't even think about the confidence of it anymore. I just go purely with my intuition. And if something is nudging me to say, like, you need to do this, this is important, whether it's going to succeed or not, if my intuition says it's important, I know that it's a building block and a learning curve for me. And there's something about it that has to happen for me to go to the next step.
Nice. Great answer. Love that. Okay. Next question is, and I just put up your website there for joining Osprey, and this segues nicely into the next question someone's put out there, and that is, this person is a man and says, is Osprey for women only? Can men join as supporters or allies, or to talk about your community a little bit?
Yeah. So right now it is for women only. This current community is just for women. We have talked about building a men's version in the future, but there are ways that you can be a part of it. For example, at our Super Bowl event that we had, A Day in the Life, which we did with Dr. Jen Welcher, we had a bunch of professional male athletes come and coach the women and support it and be there as cheerleaders. And then I'm also launching a crowdfunding platform actually this week or next, that anybody can invest in the business and hold equity in it as low as $100. So that's really exciting. That's going to be on Republic. And I think that getting everyone involved in supporting women in these sectors is really important. Not only, it shouldn't just be women lifting up women. It should be men lifting up women, because a lot of, there's many men with daughters, with sisters, that completely understand this and have, given us awesome shout outs and sent messages and said how much it matters. So yeah, there's many ways to get involved, and we do hope to start an Osprey community for men sometime in the future.
Well, there we go. Well, we'll be waiting for that as the evolution continues and the expansion and the scalability goes on. But I know you also, like myself as an entrepreneur, we want to do everything super fast and expand, but we also have to show some restraint sometimes, and be patient, which is super difficult for us. Of course, we want things to happen so quickly. So yeah, perhaps you can share with us as we finish up here, Lydia, as far as your journey, and I've known you now, gosh, almost 4 years now, the ups and the downs and the trials and tribulations for everybody, not just women out there that are entrepreneurs or looking to put themselves out there, just as far as whether it's self-care or lessons learned or things you wish you did a little differently or you've changed now, so you perhaps have a little more balance. Perhaps you can share, some of the insights that you've gleaned over the years along your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure. So it's interesting you say patience, because I am the most impatient person. I do everything at like 100 million miles per hour, which is not would not recommend it. It's not healthy. But I think there's many, many things I've learned and many things I would change just doing this business, but also doing all the other businesses I've done. So much of it is focused on work-life balance, which is very difficult, especially when you're a mom. And I think that finding that time to work really hard for maybe you say 4 or 5 hours and then give yourself a break for 30 minutes or something is important. I forget to do that all the time. And the days that I do it, I work so much better. So I think like making sure you're breaking it down and focusing on yourself as well, because you're the one that's creating everything and making everything work. So if your brain and your body and your emotional well-being isn't there, the company isn't going to work either. And I think that has to be your intention every day, is look after obviously your kids or yourself first, and then put the effort towards the company. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to get where you want it to go. And I also think just, creating space for failure is very important. I have failed many, many, many times. Some of them have broken me down and I've cried and, had self-doubt for a long time. But I think as long as you turn that failure into learning, and I love to learn. I'm a book geek. Like I would do every college degree I could if it was possible. But taking that stuff and like creating it into learning and saying, hey, that didn't work the way I wanted it to, but what did I learn from it? Because you always learn something from everything. And then taking that and twisting it next time. This time I'd learned a bunch of stuff from teammates about tech stuff that I didn't know that I fixed this time. And so this time it went more smoothly. And then there's stuff I've done in Osprey where, I forgot to reach out to a member or something where I was like, well, I should have had that automated already so that I would have remembered it.
Right.
So being less scattered and more like, putting everything in compartments, automating things, taking advantage of AI because it's there and it helps and it works. But yes, focus on yourself, take those ice plunges. That's my go-to. If I'm feeling a bit off, I just go an ice plunge and then I'm like back to grounded, feeling great, move forward.
A little shock to the system there. Get that endocrine system working. A little dopamine drip there to get you. See, we're on different sides of the spectrum on that one. Where I do the hot yoga thing where I need it. You like cold, I like hot. So, which is kind of ironic or opposite, because where I'm sitting right now in Vancouver, it's kind of cool, and where you are, it's crazy sweaty hot already in Houston.
Yeah, and it's funny. I heard it was a lot to do with like your genetics and your heritage, like what temperatures you like. And mine's very like Nordic. So, I mean, it makes sense that I just want to sit in like 37-degree bath for 5-6 minutes. So it'd be interesting to know what yours is.
Yeah, I think, well, it's interesting because I grew up in Toronto, which is kind of like, well, pretty much like Buffalo or Cleveland. Wintertime, super cold, summer, hot and humid. But so I'm a bit all over the place. But yeah, I like cold. But now that I'm on the West Coast, Vancouver's like Seattle, that it doesn't snow here too often. So I've become a bit of a wimp when it comes to the cold now. So yeah, I prefer the heat. I'm a heat guy, definitely. I think I've just got used to it.
I like it. Bit of balance.
There we go. And that balance is exactly what you're talking about in life, in entrepreneurship, because we've talked about many times that mental health piece there. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's lonely. It's isolating, the anxiety and depression level. And it's tough. So to finish up here and double back on your comment there of self-care and looking after yourself. And one thing I've learned over the years too, I heard this one a couple of years ago, the metaphor of the being on a plane and there's an emergency and the oxygen mask falls down. What's the first thing you need to do? Put it on yourself rather than trying to put it on everybody else. And I found for myself, because I love to give, as you know, whether it's through the podcast or building that startup ecosystem across North America, I've probably given a little too much in the sense and not looking after myself well enough. So it's that balance too, of I'm really trying to put that oxygen mask on first, because then I actually have more oxygen or even more resources that I can help people even more. And I've had to learn that over time in sometimes a kind of a painful way, but
Yes.
we all come out the other side.
And you've done an amazing job. And this is all so wonderful. And we always, as entrepreneurs, always appreciate your like incredible platforms to go on and just discuss and talk to like-minded people. So thank you for having me today.
It is my pleasure, my friend. And so, hey, why don't we finish up with that then? And thank you for being the first guest on ModGolf Live. And like I said, we're going to keep on doing them. And for everybody out there as an entrepreneur, the fact that we only had a couple of people watching here today, don't get discouraged by that and thinking, oh, well, it's a failure. There is no failure. I'm treating this like an experiment, and I'm only going to get better at this. And just kind of put yourself out there and see what happens. So let's all remove that stigma of failure that we all grew up with at school, of how you're graded. And it's kind of our mindset from kindergarten. And as entrepreneurs, I know, Lydia, we've talked about this many times. You know what? You just have to cast that aside and just keep on moving forward. And that act of doing, like you are, is the best way to learn. So yes. I'm doing it here. You're doing it there. We're going to do it together in a couple of months. And once again, I'm just grateful to have you as a friend, someone that I've met over the years. And that's the beauty of building this community. Now, almost 200 episodes in, as I've said, I consider having 200 micro mentors. I've learned something from every single person, and you are no exception to that, my friend. And
thank you.
Yeah. And it's, that's what life is about. You know, yeah. Hey, we're in this. We're also, and the beauty of it is, and guess what? We're actually able to make money and support ourselves as we go, doing the things that we love and putting in the work there, and having our purpose and our passion behind that. So Lydia Davies, founder of Osprey, and doing so many awesome things, trying to stay cool in tornado-riddled Houston. Thank you, my friend, for joining me today on the ModGolf Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. You take care. We'll talk soon.
Bye, everyone.